Hi, this is Michael Uslan. You're listening to Batman on Film.
I'm vengeance.
I have given a name to my pain.
The Batman.
Always waiting for some Batman to save you.
It's simple. We kill the Bat of Gotham. I'm Batman.
And hello, everyone out in Gotham City. Welcome to the BOF podcast, episode 216. This is the Blue Beetle review show. Yes, Blue Beetle has finally reached the pinnacle of every comic book movie. He has got his silver screen debut. So, Blue Beetle, congratulations. You are the newest entry. And to discuss this movie with me, I have, I'm still trying to figure out a nickname for you. You're he's the closest thing I got is your Fireman Ed for the Cowboys, but I got to work on it. Micah Ramey, welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks for having me, dude. Fireman Ed's not bad, dude. It's really not bad. Cowboy season's coming up. Everything's looking really positive.
I can see you down there in the end zone with your cowboy hat and your what's it called? What are those pant things called the Cowboys wear? Oh, what the hell are those things called?
Oh my god, now I'm drawing blank. I'm a fake Texan.
Yeah, see, you should know this. You are a cowboy, but whatever it is. Chaps. That's it.
Yeah.
You can sit there with your cowboy hat and your chaps, and you're getting everybody all riled up with your rally towel and everything. Like I can see you doing that.
It's just too hot right now to wear chaps. I don't know.
But you would just be wearing the chaps, no pants. You know.
Obviously, assless chaps. You have to go.
Just chaps. Oh man. So I'm kind of excited to discuss this movie with you because no one else is around and you filled the void.
Oh, so I'm like your fifth choice to do this. You've asked everyone else and they either haven't seen it or they just don't care to talk to you.
I think Justin is right now. Justin is doing a vow of veganism and he's not talking to me. Garrett only operates during the daytime. Lauer is, oh man, I think Lauer is just too busy buying real estate across Indiana, and Hoss is a kid. So yeah, I went to the chat. I was like, Mike, are you free? You're like, yeah. I'm like, let's do this. Let's go, bro. And do you know anything about Blue Beetle before we actually get into this? Because I'm really kind of new to the character. I really only know about Blue Beetle through Injustice, the video game.
No, yeah, mostly mine is from Injustice and Injustice 2, as well as Brave and the Bold. He was in Brave and the Bold quite a bit. The
Jaime Reyes version or the Ted?
Yeah, the Jaime Reyes. So I'm more familiar with the Jaime Reyes, and I've done a little bit more research trying to get to know a little bit more about Blue Beetle. And I mean, the film touched on it a little bit, but
yeah, the movie did a good job of kind of like summarizing Blue Beetle history. I think someone like me who is a novice for the character, the opening. Remember that? Like, did you ever see Ed Norton's like Hulk? Like it kind of had like the introduction, kind of like it felt like we were watching a recap. You're a lot younger than me. I get that. So that's why I have to ask these questions. But I kind of got that vibe from that movie. So that helped. Because I really don't know much about Ted Cord or Jaime Reyes. I've just kind of played with them as a video game character. So this was cool. I don't have so much of an attachment. I can't be like overly critical about certain characterizations and stuff of certain characters, but overall, I have to say I was kind of impressed with the movie, considering how we considered a DOA, basically, with the bad streak that DC's been on. Overall, like, how did you kind of feel? Like, talk about the movie in general for you.
I mean, I went in with pretty low expectations.
Okay, so you were riding the DC wave. I
was riding the DC wave, and that's from someone who enjoyed The Flash. And I went in with pretty low expectations of The Flash, but I do think overall The Flash was a really good comic book movie. I agree. I had some problems with it, which I don't necessarily think it was its fault. And I think this movie, not as much as The Flash, but similar to The Flash, kind of falls into the camp of just feels tied down to two separate universes. at the same time, and it's just this movie in the middle of it's trying to exist in a universe that exists and doesn't exist at the same time. And
that's a good way of saying it.
It's so strange. It's like, obviously when I'll just say, we'll get to that later, but impressions, I thought the movie was just okay. I thought it was just fine. I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't think it was horrible. I thought the performances were pretty well overall, besides one specifically, one performance I thought was god awful. Okay. But I mean,
there was one I thought that was bad too. So I wonder if we have the same one.
It's probably the same. It has to be. But I think our lead was fantastic. I love him as Jaime Reyes.
He is very charismatic.
He was awesome. Like
I forget how to pronounce his name. I think it's Zolo.
I think it's Zolo. Yeah. He was phenomenal.
Man,
he's from
every minute he was on screen was the best part of the movie.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, it's like a movie about Blue Beetle, and it's a family movie, like to its core. But I think my main problem is what I said earlier about what is this movie? What is this movie? Like, what is going on? What is the point? And I think they kind of focused a little too much on the family aspect. And I don't know if that was from budget restraints or if that's just kind of the story they wanted to tell. Because it seemed like Blue Beetle wasn't really in the movie too much.
The Scarab, yeah. I'm trying to think. It's weird because when you say Blue Beetle, it's like, what do you mean? There's the overall like legacy, I guess, of Ted Cord that kind of hangs over the entire
That's
movie.
what I wanted more of that.
That's part of it.
Less family and more of the legacy.
I like the family though. Like I'm like, this is kind of like I would like a Fantastic Four movie now. Like that's kind of like the crazy family I'm dying to see back on the big screen. But I mean, I'm a sucker for George Lopez. And he killed it in this movie.
He was awesome. He was good.
I was like, I want a crazy uncle like George Lopez. And his Batman is a fascist line is hysterical. If you got pissed off by that, I'm sorry. You have a horrible sense of humor. Like in the context of the movie, it's fine. It's great. It's wonderful. It's funny. As is a lot of the other stuff. He's because he's kind of a nerd. He's kind of a techie. The guy in the chair almost. So like he has a purpose in the movie. I don't know. Like I had fun with it. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't epic. But I could sit there for 2 hours. I had a blast. It didn't seem like 2 hours. It was just kind of a fun CBM for me. Nothing too amazing. It wasn't horrible. There were certain shots that I thought were a little kind of like, oh, okay, maybe that was before it became a real movie and was a streaming movie. Like I wonder. Yes, I was curious, like if there was like some kind of period you could see the difference. But overall, I just I'm not going to get too worked up on a couple bad CGI shots, because I thought the Blue Beetle itself looked amazing. But I don't know, like how the overall lore of the Blue Beetle and the Cord Industries kind of played into it. Like I thought the essence of Blue Beetle was the movie. Like I can't imagine them actually making a better Blue Beetle movie than the one they did, considering, the balance of like Ted Cord and his industry and everything. And even like, I liked how, basically the Blue Beetle existed before this too. Like, he was a known superhero. Like he seemed to have personality, there were clues around that stuff that I really enjoyed. And I'm actually I hope we get to see more of this kind of sector of whatever universe it's in. But yeah, it did kind of also get caught up in like, well, is it in the DCEU or is it in the DCU? Because there's name drops. There's Flash, Central City, Batman, Gotham Academy. Like it's within some world somewhere. I don't know. So it could easily be this one or that one, or it could be someplace we don't know because they teased us with multiverse for a while. But I did a little bit of research and I found that the Carapax character was kind of more drawn into the backstory of Ted Cord and stuff. So that stuff was very faithful. It seems like the team behind this film was very faithful to Blue Beetle history in general. Like you did some digging as well. Did you find anything that you thought was really interesting that they kind of twisted or combined between Blue Beetle history and Blue Beetle film?
See, I don't have a problem with the story of the movie whatsoever. I think it's more of execution for me and where they choose to spend time in the movie. Like I said with the family, I think they focus just a little bit too much on that family. I would have liked to have seen more of Ted Cord. I think that would have been a really interesting kind of comic book story where you have, and even the original Blue Beetle would have been.
So we could talk. We're talking spoilers here. So like you're not a fan of the mid credit scene. That didn't get you hyped up. Like I thought that was kind of.
I didn't even know there was when we left.
You left?
Yeah.
Oh man,
I
are you
fucking,
a comic book movie rookie?
Dude, I hate post-credit scenes. I can't stand them.
That's null and void. You still have to see it because now
how for Blue Beetle, dude, for a movie that it's in the middle.
Yeah,
I know, but it's like point. For Blue Beetle, like I just didn't expect it to have one. All right, just go ahead and inform me in the audience.
Do you leave at the fourth quarter of the Cowboy game too? You got leave. You leave with 2 minutes left, right?
I'll never leave. Never leave.
2 minutes. That's because that's what this is. You just left with 2 minutes left. I'm just saying.
No, I left.
So essentially, Ted Cord is alive. He's trying to reach Jenny because now that his equipment is on, because they left the computers on after they took the beetle bug to the island. So now he's able to communicate with his stuff, and he's trying to reach Jenny. So that was the end credit, the end credit scene.
Okay, but they haven't casted Ted Cord yet.
No, they haven't. But
he looked like Jason Sudeikis, dude.
The director wants Sudeikis, actually.
He looked like Jason Sudeikis in that painting in the house. But
maybe that's things that come. Hopefully, maybe we'll see. Maybe we don't. I don't know. I don't think it's making that much money.
Looking up the history of Blue Beetle and how they handle it in the movie, I like it. I just wish it was explored a little bit more. I don't see why Ted Cord couldn't have just been in the movie and been more of a mentor to Jaime.
Yeah. But I still appreciated the whole thing with the scarab and how Jaime's got to learn how to deal with this thing too. Like you got to balance your beetles at some point. I don't know. Like I felt like they did a good job teasing Ted Cord and putting Jaime front and center. And as we're still learning about basically he was kind of like, poor man's Batman. And, Jaime is now essentially Iron Venom. Like, you know what I mean? So like, I think you got to balance out your beetles. Like, and this was Jaime's time. Maybe, the sequel, Ted will be a little bit more front and center. But
sequel? Did you say sequel?
I mean, if you want to talk positive, yes. Like, obviously they make these things with sequels. It's a shared universe. Now we have to talk about this stuff this way.
Yeah. I just think, man, I really think this movie would have benefited not existing when it came out. If this was a part of, this is a pro and con of the DC universe. A con being that this movie was obviously intended to be a part of the last. I mean, there's no mistake. I don't care what James Gunn or anyone says. This movie was obviously intended to be made. I mean, it was supposed to go straight to Max. HBO Max.
I mean, it was definitely supposed to be part of like DCU 2.0, whatever the Hamada DCU was. Yeah.
I don't know. Just like, I really wish we would have got this movie 2-3 years from now. Or even next year, existing within this new gun.
We said that about the Flash.
I mean, it talks about the Flash and all this, and it's just, I don't know, man. It'd be cool to have already have that Ted Cord casted. It'd be cool to have these other characters already exist. And I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the whole universe, and everything needs to connect. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, this movie connects. It's trying to connect
to something.
That's my problem. It's that it doesn't need to connect, but the film is attempting to, but it doesn't disclose anything else. It's so vague, and I feel like
So you don't like
edited the film, or I don't like that. I mean, like, just do either or, like either don't connect or connect. Like, don't do this half-ass, like, oh, maybe Blue Beetle will come back. And I mean, we're talking too much about, I mean, I guess the future of Blue Beetle and instead of the movie, but it's going to be hard for me to see how they bring him into the new DCU and what his role would be. I don't know what he would do. I would like a Blue Beetle sequel with a bigger budget and Ted Cord actually in it, and it more focused on that. And him and Jaime learning more about the Blue Beetle in the past and incorporating in the original Blue Beetle, and him actually having the scarab as well would be interesting. But I don't know, dude. I think the movie tried to play its cards too close to its chest and try to do a lot, but also do nothing at the exact same time.
That's interesting.
That's just my opinion of it. And I don't know. It's hard for me. And
I think it kind of toes the line pretty well because it's so vague. Like it's to me, like all those lines of like, oh, the Flash in Central City and whatnot. To me, that's no different than like, this is why Superman works alone, or in Superman Returns, where they're like, and then the plane flew over Gotham. Like it's, to me, that's just because they're just they're just like one-liners. That's it. Yeah. They're there. Okay. Like obviously, the Flash is out there in Central City running around or whatever. Yeah,
I think I share a mindset that the general audience has, and I think we take for granted how smart the general audience is. I think they know a little bit more than what we think they do, and they just know these movies like the Flash, especially, and Blue Beetle are leading to nothing. That why would I go see something that leads to nothing?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like you could see them in any movie. Like, why do I go see a movie if I don't know there's going to be a sequel? Right? Like, because you're just going to see that movie in particular.
Yeah, but it's like a part of an overarching story, and if the story
I do not. I do.
you know what I mean?
I don't like how
it's like both. Like you're right and I'm right. It's like a two thing. Like it should be movie by movie. I agree.
I agree. I agree with you.
But it's not. It's inherently not. So I don't know, man. It's how audiences are trained these days, and I think they're a little bit smarter than we think. But I don't know.
Sometimes I think they just like what they like, and like they just whatever. I don't know. Like, I can't figure them out because like I said,
I can't either.
Flash was good, but
I mean, I think the best comic movie of the year is Guardians 3, and it's performed the best to my knowledge. So
everyone loves it. I haven't seen it yet, but everyone loves it.
It's brilliant, dude. You still got to see it.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't care. I don't like raccoons that much. All right, let's get back to Blue Beetle. All right, so you got problems with the family. You thought there was too much family. What did you like? Was there something you did enjoy? You've been talking negatively a lot, so I'm just trying to get some positive stuff.
I think the best thing about the movie, which is the most important, is the main character, Jaime Reyes. He's super likable.
Yeah.
He's very kind. He's intelligent. He's just a likable guy. He's very Peter Parker-esque, which I think is intentional. The movie kind of reminds me of Homecoming in the way that Peter interacts with the suit in that movie.
It's funny because I feel like this is the second time they've tried to rip off of Peter Parker in DC. The first they tried to make Flash and Batman, Iron Man, and Spider-Man. And then that's a valid point. I get you. You're right. What other CBMs did you see influenced in this movie? Because I saw a bunch.
What other CBMs I see influence this?
Weird, because I've got Venom.
I mean, go ahead.
I saw the parts of Venom. I saw parts of like Amazing Spider-Man, right? Like it seemed like this was like even like Shazam, they took like the family aspect of that. It was like they were at some points it did feel like they were like nitpicking the best parts of all the comic movies and putting it in together, even though it came out pretty well. I think, I felt like as I was watching that, I said that on Straight Outta Gotham too. Like, these things remind me a hell of a lot, especially when he's just getting taken over by the Scarab and he's just crashing into his house.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
A lot of the Scarab and Jaime, I really enjoyed. Jaime and his sister, I thought was hysterical. She was great. She was funny. The grandmother stole the show for me. That grandmother reminded me of my grandmother until she started, shooting everyone.
Your grandmother was a commando.
No, that was the part that was totally different. But up until then, she was very loving and she always was motivating and said the right things. Like, we're not gonna, and then the granny pops out with like, I don't know, Jesse Ventura's gun from Predator and starts mowing these dudes down. And I'm like, whoa. I thought that was cool. I don't know. But so who was your disliked here? You said you didn't like a character. What didn't you like?
I think the worst part about the film is the villain is terrible. I think it's
which one? The real villain or the fight villain?
The real villain.
Susan
the
Sarandon.
Real villain in the movie. She's terrible, dude. Oh my God.
Did she look like she was tipsy throughout the movie to you?
Yes, it was so bad, dude. It was so bad. It was comically bad.
Was she trying to play it tipsy, or do you think she just at the part of her career where she's drinking?
Dude, I think she just did. I mean, could you not tell that she just did not give a fuck whatsoever? Like, here's your line.
This is originally supposed to be Sharon Stone.
Really?
Yeah, Sharon Stone backed out for some reason. I believe she was originally cast as that, if I'm not mistaken.
And it's like, it's not her character really isn't the problem for me. Like, her motivation makes sense to an extent. Mm-hmm. Her wanting to build an army is kind of crazy to me. It is very comic booky that she wants to build an army and essentially
government contracts. Again, Iron Man,
and be rich. And I get it to an extent. I mean, it's very evil. It's just so inherently evil, and she's just evil to be evil. But her performance is fucking god awful. It's the most. What's the line? And then she just says it, and then they move on. It's so bad.
Do you want to know something? I felt that way about Jenny. I thought Jenny was wood. I thought she just was reading the script. I did not like Jenny's character at all. I thought she was so dull.
I thought she was so dumb and served no purpose other than.
I didn't say dumb. I said dull, but.
Well, I think she was a little just. She was kind of an asshole, dude. Like, when
take this
big
belly
met
burger.
A guy, take this Scarab where you could be taken away, and she results in eventually his father dying. Like, she's a fucking asshole, dude. Like, when you really think about it, like, what Jaime's kind of blind, dude. He's listening to something else and not his mind, obviously.
Well, the scarab says so. There's blood. There's blood rushing to your mid.
Yeah, that was in the movie. That was in the movie.
Yeah,
which I thought was funny.
Hey, rich girls do that, man. They can distract. Well, money in general. Like Jaime, he's coming from.
Luckily, I've been stiff arming those girls my entire life.
Yeah. Hey, look.
If you
find someone like Jenny Cord, don't stiff arm her. Take her up on her check. Go for it. Because remember, you take half her money. That's how that's going to work. She makes more than you. At least that's how it works in Jersey.
Yeah, but yeah, man. Character wise, Jenny was she was pretty mad for like a romantic interest. It was very,
and it
very,
sucks because
you saw coming from a mile
he's so
away.
Charismatic and she's so dull, and it's like this doesn't work.
Yeah, but I agree. George Lopez is awesome. He's my favorite supporting cast.
He was great. Rudy was great. Rudy and Jaime, their dynamic was good.
It makes no sense how he knows how to do anything. Like, why does he? They're so poor.
Why? Because he's your crazy uncle who works at Radio Shack, man. He's just been building stuff.
Dude, they're so poor, but he has like a brand new Tacoma that's like lift kitted and has all this badass shit in it.
Well, that's why he sleeps in his brother's couch, because he can't afford, because he spends all his money
on his truck. And then he knows how to build an RFI device that emits an electronic frequency that takes out all the security and cord
sound like you know
tower.
what you're talking about.
Slightly, yeah. But it's like, how does he know how to do this? I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter that he knows, but there's a few plot
That's
points.
That's the whole point, isn't it? Like,
so
that's why he's got to kick it 5 times to make it work,
It's so there's a lot of like, how do we make this make sense in the story? And it's the writers were just like,
and that's why you hire George Lopez, because then he makes it funny and no one cares. Like how it's like how do you MacGyver this just now? No one cares. It's George Lopez. He had a crazy goatee.
Yeah. He looked awesome and he was fun in the movie. I do like the grandma. I like the father especially. I wasn't necessarily a big fan of the sister. I didn't think she was really that funny.
Okay.
Her I'm gonna go take a shit joke just went right past me. Didn't find it too funny.
I mean, I'm always good. I'm always down for a good shit joke. So that resonated.
But I don't know, man. I just think there's a lot of movies, especially with the Blue Beetle background. There's a lot of things in the movie that just weren't explained, which doesn't always need to be. But how does Rudy know how to do any of that? How does he know how to build a technology? Why does he have a Tacoma, a brand new Tacoma truck, yet they're so poor and everything's falling apart? Why?
Jeez,
as soon as Jaime Reyes steals the truck and drives the core tower, Jenny just happens to be running around outside, like. What? And then it's like
evading the security team.
Dude, come on. She happens to be right there when he pulls up, and then it's like very like hit or miss of when the Scarab
you're
takes
more strict
control over Blue Beetle. It was just so on or off. Like when the Scarab's in charge. What's the Scarab's name in the film?
I honestly couldn't pronounce it, so don't.
I couldn't either. That's why I was like,
that's why it's the Scarab.
The Scarab. Whenever the female Scarab would take over, it was just very, what are the rules here? Like, what are the rules? And that's why I think having Ted Cord.
You don't think that the Scarab and Jaime set the rules throughout the course of the movie?
No, I think they changed the rules. They flip-flopped a million times. Like, a million times. Like, the Scarab protects him, and then he tells the Scarab not to kill, and then the Scarab still wants to kill.
That's
then
part of the journey.
No, we're not going to kill.
That's the arc.
And then the Scarab's like, okay, we're not going to do that anymore because we saw your dad in something that's not explained. Why is his dad there? And then Jaime jumps into a CGI abyss and had what's that painting? That painting of God. Is it God? And it's like that Italian painting of like God reaching out with his hand and then someone else reaching out. And that's exactly what it looked like. Yeah, it's exactly.
Okay.
And then Blue Beetle and Jaime touch fingers, and then
like E.T.
And then they're merged. And then now the Scarab
they've reached symbiosis.
They've reached symbiosis, but then you have to wait 15 minutes for it to reboot as he runs around the facility for the next. Don't act like
you've never rebooted your computer.
Minutes.
We're talking about a Scarab. This is highly advanced technology.
It's insane, dude. It's like, okay, all right, I'll suspend like a lot of suspension of disbelief in the movie. Like, if you turn your brain off, you'll probably have a decent time with the movie.
I want you to meet Reno. You would like Reno. You guys would love to nitpick things.
And I'm really not nitpicky. I promise. I'm normally not.
Sounds like you are.
I'm not. That's how much the movie just over and over again. It's like, what is going on? how does this character know how to do this? Weren't the rules this, but now they're this? Why is the suit rebooting? Why don't they just kill him right now? What is going on? And why does, we're speaking of villains, the hidden villain, the one he fights, what's his name?
Carapax?
Yeah, Carapax. When he keeps telling Jaime, your family makes you weak, but he carries around a locket of him and his mother his entire life.
That's a good call, actually. Yeah.
Like, why does family make him weak if you are still holding on? Which I thought was a good arc. Like it all makes sense, but then they just
because wasn't he brainwashed? I guess yeah, like it made it seem like he was brainwashed, and
then like what was his motivation? He just wanted a body back for what? Like that seemed to be his motivation was I don't really want to do this, but I'm doing this to get a body back, to just to have a body back. Like I don't really understand what his
if I didn't have any limbs,
his,
I feel like I would want them back. Yes.
Yeah, but he was like he was willing to do.
That's a good call. I'll give you that. I'll give you that one, actually. I'll give you a call. The Carapax thing, now you make me think about it.
It was strange. And I think a lot of it just stumbled. And it's like, why is what is her name? Cord? It's
Victoria or
it's
Jenny?
it's Ted Cord's sister.
Victoria, yeah.
That's his sister, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. She just, her whole motivation and arc just was
jealousy.
I don't think was handled
over.
Yeah, just like jealousy. Like
this is kind of generic
to be evil. I think they could have tied that in a little bit more, where she felt like left out from the legacy or blah, 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 instead of just being evil. Like she's just so evil just to be evil. I really like the foundation of this movie. I really do like it. There's a lot to like about
I wouldn't have guessed it. I wonder if people, I would love to hear people talk about this episode.
I think that's why I have I have problems with it, is because I want to like it more. It's just, there's a lot of things that I think they either missed a few hurdles along the 100 meters or they completely ignored them and just pretending like they jumped over the hurdle, but they just ran around it. And then they jump over a few hurdles perfectly. That's why I'm picky about it, because I want to like it more, but there's just things in the movie to me that just don't make any sense. And but I get why you like it. Like I completely understand why you enjoy it.
If I was an actual Blue Beetle fan and I knew, if I was as studied as Blue Beetle as I was on Batman, I'm sure I would find things I didn't like. You know, there are certain things, like for me, seeing like when they said OMAC in the movie, that's a big deal to me. Like I grew up, you know, what's it called? OMAC Project, Infinite Crisis, all that jazz. Like, you know, when the OMAC was big, you know, like I grew up on that. So like, I was like, wow, I didn't know OMAC was going to be in the movie. And then the design is totally off. I was like, that's weird. I was like, I feel like someone at DC was like, we can't have Blue Beetle fighting a blue robot. That's too much blue. He's got to be red and orange. He's got to be different colors. Like, I was like, oh man, like, I don't know if you're familiar with OMAC from the comics, but he's gone through the character from being like one guy with a mohawk to being like this parasitic like thing that like, you know, turns you into like this blue stiff thing that gives you like this claw. It's pretty cool. It's cooler in the comics than how I explain it, but I love OMAC. So like, that was a bit of a letdown. So there's certain things, but like, I just had fun with the movie. Like, to me, it's like generic-y, popcorny, 2 hours. I could just enjoy it, you know? And it's funny because it seems that the audience, the general audience, is really, not really, but well, compared to what we've seen, has actually, this kind of moved the needle with them a little bit. Like Flash, Black Adam, Shazam did nothing, right? Like, that literally did nothing, like didn't move any needles. At least people are responding to Blue Beetle, which I'm actually kind of finding surprising, because I kind of feel like it's the third best out of those four that I mentioned DC wise.
Hey y'all, it's Bill Ramey, founder of Batman on Film. Let's take a quick pause in this podcast for these words from our sponsor.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, out of DC films this year, it's the second best, I would say.
You think so?
They're
going opinion. Flash first?
Yeah, Flash first, of course. Yeah. Then Blue Beetle, then Shazam, I would say.
I have Blue Beetle and Shazam reversed. I think it's better than I think Blue Beetle's better than Black Adam. Clearly, a lot better.
Definitely.
But I liked all of the movies. Like, it's not me dissing on any.
I just think our expectations are so low, and I'm not saying this maybe to you personally, but
no, mine are dirt low. Yeah, mine are low.
Overall, it's just sad, and I'm picky because I want it to be great. I don't want it to just be a fun time or a good time. Like, wouldn't it be awesome if Blue Beetle was fucking awesome? Like, it was.
It would be great if every
really
movie
good.
was 2 hours of epicness, but it's not. Let's be realistic. You're not going to get that.
But I think
there's somewhere for this movie in the spectrum of enjoyment. Like, you know, like you said, it doesn't suck, but it's not like, dude, we got to go next weekend again. You know, it's just like, hey, I saw that. That was cool. What are we going to go see next week? You know, like, that's kind of how I feel with it. You know, I probably won't see it again because I'm going to go see Turtles. Like, there are other movies out there that I have to go see, and Turtles is up there. And I saw this before Turtles for obvious podcasting reasons. So, you know, like, that's that. I've seen Blue Beetle. Now it's on to the next one. Like, when it comes out, I'll buy it. I'll give it a rewatch then. But you know, I'll probably show this to my mom because my mother loves George Lopez. She loves his TV show. So she might actually think it's funny. I brought her to see The Flash, and she was really into the Georgia Reeves cameo. So, like, there's little things in these movies that I can share with, like, somebody. Like, she loves George Lopez. So I was like, this is cool. She'll enjoy that. He's in the movie enough to please her. So,
yeah. I mean, I just feel very similar to this movie as I felt about The Flash. Obviously, I like The Flash a lot more. I think it was a way better movie overall in pretty much every aspect. Yeah. But it just, again, man, it's this universe shit. These movies, this is such a weird time in DC on film. Like, this,
it is because this is the DCU
gap,
right? And then we still have Aquaman coming.
Yeah, like, from what is it? I would say from Black Adam, or what was the first film after Snyder Cut? Was it Wonder Woman 84?
Wonder Woman 84 came out before Snyder Cut. Wonder Woman 84 came out Christmas COVID. It was COVID Christmas.
It was COVID.
It was Christmas COVID. It was our present from Warner Brothers.
was a few months after that.
Yeah, so Snyder Cut was March, So,
but basically everything DC on film post Snyder Cut is just it's just this weird.
So you want to bring Snyder
flip? I'm not. I did not say that whatsoever. But it's like we're waiting. We're just like, we're turning the page, but we're turning it so slowly. It's
because it was like, well, what's the main part of The Flash, the ending, and what's that connect to Man of Steel?
Yeah,
we just can't get past.
I know, it's just so abnormal, and it's like
Aquaman's gonna take us back to Man of Steel.
I know, and it's like Aquaman's gonna finally end this, and it's gonna be weird, dude. I don't know. I haven't heard.
I consider this Blue Beetle movie, honestly, in the DCEU. To me, it's the second to last movie in the DCEU. There's enough vague references in there for me to be like, it's definitely a part of that universe. So that's how I'm taking it. You know, like, I don't think the DCU starts until Legacy. Like, that's it. That's the first movie. If they want to backtrack, like, I felt like they could have said The Flash is the first DCU movie because it resets the timeline, and then, you know, they didn't. So I don't know. To me, saying that Blue Beetle is in the DCU is like, Tom Cruise loves the Flash. It's just like, this is positive stuff, guys. You're hyped, right? You know, so
yeah.
But
I mean, James Gunn went to the premiere because he had to. I mean, it's his job. He inherited.
Well, he does now because he inherited the Blue Beetle.
He inherited it.
It's a Safran movie too, so his buddy's there. Like, you know, like
yeah.
Peter Safran's in-house. He was doing stuff.
And you wouldn't want to, you know, kind of lock James Gunn creatively and saying, hey, you get to reset everything, but you have to bring over Blue Beetle. You know, it just seems strange. If anyone can incorporate Blue Beetle into it, James Gunn.
To be honest, I feel like Blue Beetle is almost a James Gunn character, but almost like kind of like how he would do a squeaky clean character. Yeah. Right. Like, I'm thinking about Ted Kord, but like, I think the dynamic there can create something very interesting for James.
Yes, Gunn. I agree. I would love a Ted Kord, Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle film. I think it would be really cool to see. I would like a sequel to Blue Beetle. Do I think that's going to happen?
Hero
Absolutely
being a mentor to a younger hero?
What are you trying to set me up for?
Because I want Batman and Robin. That's why. Like, why do we have to get double Beetle to get what Batman? You know, it's like, what's the best Fantastic Four movie? The Incredibles.
It is.
You know,
it is.
But yeah, I'm with you. It'd be cool to see some kind of.
It's hard for me to get excited for these movies, and I don't want to.
Well, I don't know what we're in store for.
Yeah, I know. And I'm just tired of going into DC movies with low expectations. Like, that shouldn't be the case. And that's why I'm so nitpicky, is you should go in with decently high, maybe not astronomically high, but you should go in with expectations that this is going to be good. You shouldn't be going in like if it's not a dumpster fire, then it's a success. Like that. No, that is not a success. And Blue Beetle is, I mean, obviously financially not a success. And critically, it's a mild, very mid, if you want to call it success. But
I'm tired of walking out of DC movies. I said this on Straight Outta Gotham many times and saying, I dug it. I liked what the director was doing, but I get why the general audience doesn't get this. You know, like I'm tired of saying that. You know, I just want to be on the same page, and I want everyone to be like, yeah, this is great. You know, I want to go back to the Dark Knight. Can we go back to when Rises was the biggest problem in Batman? Like, how spoiled were we? Kowalski's complaining about missed punches, and everyone's like, "Oh, Bob is so generic." And what about now? You want generic? You want generic back?
Yeah.
I don't know. I dug the movie. I did. You know, I did. I had fun with it. I don't know. So they made us a Blue Beetle. I questioned it. Do we need a Blue Beetle? Is there superhero fatigue? I did, honestly. Does DC need to make superhero movies? Because now that they've had a shared universe that's failed and whatnot, like I'm like, outside of Batman, like what does it even matter? Honestly, like I don't know. Is the time of the Western finally hit the comic book genre?
I don't think so, man. I think it really is all just execution. I don't think the comic book movies are just dead just because we've seen too many of them. I just refuse to believe that. I mean, I think the streaming services. I think the streaming services have done us a disservice. Yeah, I agree. But I look at Guardians this year. It's the best performing movie all year, critically and commercially. And it was, in my opinion, by far the best, like just leagues beyond Blue Beetle and even The Flash. Like I just think it was such a well-made movie.
See, I didn't like the second one.
And second, I like all three of them, but I think the third one might be the best. It really was.
I mean, you're in the majority. Everyone loves it.
Yeah, me and Kowalski felt very similar about it. And I think that's why we felt similar about the future of DC. We're a little bit more optimistic, even though it doesn't seem like it in this review of Blue Beetle, because I'm very nitpicky. But I don't know, man. Like, I got
to see something. I can't be sure. Look, this whole thing, everything he's announced in Superman Legacy just doesn't really, it doesn't really move my needle. I got to see something. Like I got to see a costume to get me a little more excited. I got to see a trailer, a teaser. You know, like I got to get a feel. Like that's when you go into like something new. And it's, you know, like I remember going into like, it was going to like BVS the first time, you know, it's like, okay, I kind of got like a tease because of Man of Steel, but this is more Snyder and like he's incorporating Batman. Like this is really, you walk into it and you just kind of get like a feel for the world. Like I'm not going to really get that until I'm seated for Legacy and I'm kind of immersed in it. Even for the Batman, even like the first time you're really viewing it in that theater to watch the movie, and you could just be surrounded by what they want to present to you like that. I need that moment, you know, and it's not going to come until the movie comes out, but you know, nothing's really going to get me excited until I can visually see something outside of that. Like how many times has Warner Brothers DC announced something that doesn't happen? Right. Recently, everyone got freaked out about what was it? The Nightwing movie got canceled. They got canceled like 5 years ago, idiots.
Yeah, it's been like, everyone knows it's dead. Come on.
You know, that came up again, and it's a prime example of like, yeah, they announced that at one point. Like, it's just, I got to see it. I mean, remember, Superman Lives got posters. You don't even remember that. Do you remember that?
No, I mean, I'm aware of the Nicolas Cage, Tim Burton Superman film. I wish it just would have came out because it's just a wild concept looking back. But man, I mean, we're talking Blue Beetle, but I have to ask you about Aquaman, dude. Like, what are we thinking about Aquaman? Aquaman 1 performs really well, especially overseas.
It did great overseas. It made okay money in the United States.
I have no idea. You could roll the dice on Aquaman, and I have no clue what's going to happen. I have no idea.
It went crazy in Asia, and the third act was like just kaiju heaven. So I imagine there's going to be some sort of monsters involved in this, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know, because I have not heard one good thing about Aquaman. Everything I've heard about Aquaman is that it will take the title as one of the worst comic book movies. And I don't know if that's because Momoa had so much influence about, you know, the story and what he wanted to make. But then you heard like his script got tossed out early on, so it's more generic superhero stuff. And you're like, well, that's not great. It sounds like Josh Trank's Fantastic Four all over again. You know, it's like, we'll see what happens. So I don't know. But again, like, I'm kind of with you. Like, my expectations are low. They were low for the Blue Beetle, and I was pleasantly surprised. They were really high for the Flash, and I got cut off at the knees. Shazam, I kind of expected what I got. Black Adam took me for a shock because I thought The Rock was a bigger star than he actually is. So, I don't really know what I'm talking about, I guess, so you should turn this podcast off. That's basically it.
Dude, again, man, I'm like I'm kind of repeating myself. It's hard to get excited about anything DC until it gets good. I mean, I'm with you, dude. Like, we don't know if gun stuff's gonna be good, but just the DC
and then the writer's strike sucks too,
And the writer's strike sucks. It's just the DC movies we have right now are so void of identity, and
except for the Batman saga. Like,
I know, yeah.
As Batman on film, we can actually appreciate how great that is.
Yeah,
because we can actually see the bullshit in front of us. Like, they're literally going on at the same time, and it's a big bummer about the writer's strike because we're not getting Penguin. But we should take into account we do have the Batman saga. We should be really happy about that. We should be.
Yeah, it's so perplexing. That would be a good BOF podcast. It's just why does it seem like they just can't figure out anyone else? I mean, they've had a few successful movies, but they've never.
Peacemaker and Harley Quinn. They figured out.
They figured out maybe a few others, but not nearly on the level as Batman.
No, I agree. They figured Wonder Woman. They figured out
perplexing.
Once.
It's perplexing.
It is. I don't know.
And it's so weird that you're right. I mean, these are going on at the same time.
Yeah. So appreciate the Batman, really, honestly.
Yeah.
Because, who knows what this Brave and Bold is going to be like. Again, we don't know anything.
And I'm not saying like Blue Beetle would never, I don't think it's even possible to be as good as the Batman. Just the source material alone. Like, I don't know if it would ever equate to something on that level.
I don't think it ever has to be either. If it
doesn't
is,
have to
that's
be.
wonderful.
Right.
But I don't think Blue Beetle is a character that has to ever meet the status of the Dark Knight.
No, but could it be on a Spider-Man 1 level? I think it's possible. Yes. It's certainly possible.
Spider-Man 1, yeah. I don't see. Spider-Man 1 is like one of the grand movies, I think. Spider-Man 1 and 2 are one of the grand movies in the genre. If you want to say, can it be more? Oh, I'm trying, like,
even Shazam 1. I really like Shazam 1. I thought it was much better than Blue Beetle.
I don't know. See, now you get to the point of like where you talk about like oversaturation. And then you're like, how many characters deep do you have to go before people stop caring? And like, that's why I say, like, do you need Blue Beetle? Do you need Green Lantern even? Like, do you need Dead Man? Is that a character? But then again, like, Ant-Man has a friggin' trilogy. Like, it's
Don't
crazy.
Bring that up, dude. It's insane. Insane.
And I like those 3 movies, actually. I like them. I like the 3 of them more than most people. But, it makes you wonder. We really got off on a tangent here.
We did, but it's a combination of oversaturation and just also not nearly as high of quality as it was previously. It's a combination of both.
Yeah, and then you can see that being affected on the MCU level too. Like, a lot of people complained about She-Hulk. A lot of people thought it was subpar. A lot of people said the same thing about Ant-Man 3. Like, there's just too much. Like, when do A-list characters are A-list characters. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man. Captain America. Iron Man, I think, is at that point. Those guys, like the heavy hitters, X-Men, like that whole tribe, all of them, like, because there's so many of them. They will always be there. But like the other tiers, like, West Coast Avengers or Justice League International, like the sub teams, the outsiders. Like, we don't ever need to see an outsiders movie, and it's cool. Like, thank God we have a Black Lightning TV show, because I thought it was great. Nobody watched it, but it was great. But like, I don't need to see Black Lightning and Katana working with Batman. Some people like that. I'm not. Like, I got Katana in a Suicide Squad movie. I got Black Lightning in a TV show, and Batman's in his various stuff. But I don't think we'll ever see like the outsiders in a film.
Yeah.
But Metamorphose in Superman Legacy, which is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I just thought you can't speak in generalizations about movies, especially comic book movies. You just because something hasn't worked doesn't mean it won't work. I don't know. That's the optimist in me, but
I just don't know what works anymore, because I honestly thought that the Flash would have worked. I really did.
I really think it's the universe thing, dude. It's a reboot, reset movie
that takes place during the first movie. Yeah.
Like, it's the movie is a walking paradox. It makes no sense.
That's the whole point of the movie. That's why it's the Flashpoint.
I know, and that's what's
even
funny. More hilarious is that
it actually did its job.
That's the point of the movie in a way.
Oh man, it
makes no sense.
I do think there was a generational thing there. I think if it was Bale, it might have resonated a little bit more with people. I think we're too far removed from Keaton. Like if No Way Home was made like 5 years from now, maybe that Tobey Maguire fan base just isn't, as loud as they were. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I wonder. I wonder how things would have been different. I like doing like what it could have, should have.
Yeah.
If the Yankees traded for Schilling in 2000 and 2001 never happens, then 2004 never happens. There's no bloody sock. There's no, it changes everything. The dynasty.
Imagine if Man of Steel 2 happened. Imagine if that happened. Just that world. What would happen?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't
think the Batman would have happened. I don't think that would have happened.
The Batman. Well, it's 10 years later.
I think it would have changed a lot.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know, because if Man of Steel happens, then you definitely have I feel like Nolan's still attached to it, right? So it's more kind of like, this is how we should do it. Let's just keep it its separate own thing. I don't know, but Warner Brothers got greedy, man. Avengers money. It's all about Avengers money, bro. It's all about that billion. Once that movie reached $1 billion, it changed the game.
Fuck Josh Whedon, dude.
He's, not a good guy, but
I'm just egging on.
Yeah, he's crazy. I don't even know what to say. You come in I don't know what to say about Josh Whedon. I think this is where we ended. I don't want to talk about it. Can we edit this segment out? Who cares?
This concludes the Blue Beetle review.
The Blue Beetle review and tangent conversation.
Yeah,
it's all right. I mean, these are all logical questions that DC fans have. Post everything that's gone on, really.
Yeah, I just think it's hard to watch to DC films today without all these questions, and that's why we went off on the tangent, because everyone are thinking the same things that we're thinking, and it's hard, especially for someone like me who tries not to hyperanalyze everything, but it's so difficult when the movie
hyperanalyze
itself.
This movie a lot. I'll say
it's hard not to, because it's just all over the place. It's like, well, who are they talking about? What is going on? I'm
going to pay attention to this on my second viewing. I'm going to see if I can pick up on any of this stuff. Really,
it's just
I think I was just too shocked by Susan Sarandon's tipsiness and Jenny Cord's bad acting. I think I was
so
too distracted. Even though I liked the movie,
bad.
I thought they were pretty weird. But overall,
yeah,
I say go see Blue Beetle. Micah says go see Ninja Turtles, even though he hasn't yet. So I think
I've seen Ninja Turtles. What are you talking about?
I thought you didn't see it yet. Okay.
No, I have seen it.
All right, there you go. That's it. He's saying go see Turtles instead of Blue Beetle.
Oh, it's astronomically better. It's, in my opinion, way better.
All right. I'm looking forward to seeing it next week, and I got to see it. I'm a big Turtle guy, so
I'm excited for you.
Yeah, will be. All right, buddy. I think this is it. I think we reached the max. Yeah. Why don't you plug away?
I think we did. Yeah, if you want to listen to me more for some reason, I have a YouTube channel, Micah Ramey, do Ramey reviews, has some other podcasts on there. Been on BOF more lately because my time has been a lot more open and allows me to come on, and Pete Verra wants someone to come on BOF and do a review of Blue Beetle, and everyone else either hasn't seen it or doesn't care to talk about it. So here I am.
Yeah, negativity is better than nothing.
Thanks for being here, guys. You made it this far. We appreciate it.
We got to get Jake on a show. That's my mission in life, to get Jake on a podcast.
He hasn't seen a comic book movie since the Batman, I think. He's out. He's checked out.
He saw that with me.
He did. He did.
Oh,
I was there too. Don't forget.
That's my mission in life, is to get Jake on a podcast.
With my number one favorite Italian.
That's my brother, not even me. That's how I get treated around here. No respect, like Rodney Dangerfield. Anyway, if you guys want to follow me and participate in my Hasbro like antics, you can follow me on social media. That's Twitter, Instagram. It's not Twitter, X, Instagram, and Vero, Zack Snyder's favorite platform, at Pete Illustrated. You can follow this podcast, the Batman on Film podcast. You can follow Batman on Film. That is Bill's Twitter handle, and the Batman on Film, which is the news handle. Follow that stuff on Twitter. You can follow my other podcast that I do with Eric Holzman, Straight Outta Gotham, at straight_O_G. You can follow my Spider-Man Coalition podcast that I co-host with a various group of friends at Italians for Spidey. at Team Yellow Oval as well. That's a fun little side gig I do there. And BatmanFilm.com and Batman Film YouTube. I have all kinds of reviews from toys to comic books and all that jazz. And sure, I'll have a detective review somewhere. Man, detective's not good. I need some good Batman comics, so I think I got to go back to the old days. The old days of, I don't know, back issues. Going back to the 400s. Let's start there. That's a number I'm going to pick. All right. So, once again, this is our Blue Beetle and Tangent review show for Micah Ramey. I am Peter Verra. Thank you for listening to the Batman on Film podcast. And remember, authoritative, definitive.
The dadgum original.
That's right, baby.
You've been listening to the original and official podcast of the Batman on Film website. Follow BOF on Threads at the Batman on Film. Follow BOF on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Batman on Film. To keep BOF up and running, go to patreon.com/BatmanOnFilm, or you can buy BOF a beer at buymeacoffee.com/TheRealBatmanOnFilm. For Jet and everyone at BOF, I'm announcer Rachel. Authoritative, definitive, the original. Batman on Film, founded in 1998.